If you haven't heard of Red Hook Games, then you've probably heard of Darkest Dungeon. It's a game beloved by thousands and it's got a multitude of successes for many a reason. Originally launched in 2015, it's one of the few games that actually became a success off the back of early access. It's a dark, gritty, gothic horror RPG set in a universe of darkness and despair. Even without a love for all the H.P. Lovecraft stylism in this game, it breaks one of the most fun and replayable gameplay loops of its type, and you don't have to look very far to see people enjoy this. It's built many a Twitch streamer's career off of it, and brags a massive 2 million copies sold worldwide. It's available on PlayStation, Windows, Steam, and iOS. And if you're yet to try it out, I highly recommend picking it up on Steam right now, as it's only about $4. Anyway, this story isn't to reminisce over Darkest Dungeon and convince you to buy it, because it's already a well-established franchise. But what we are here to talk about is the fact that Darkest Dungeon has finally been given a date for its new sequel. Coming to Epic this time instead of Steam, it's set to be released on the 26th of August. And similar to its predecessor, it's going to start off on early access and trickle in features with feedback from its user base. In terms of what Darkest Dungeon 2 has to offer though, this is still a best kept secret. The developers are keeping all the breadcrumbs pretty close to their chest, but here's all the details that we currently do know. The basic things first, we confirmed from Chris Bourassa that it is going to be similar to the original, but not so similar it feels like it's a carbon clone. With Tyler Sigmund, the design director, saying, "I think we wanted to make a real demarcation that it wouldn't just feel like a big DLC, it would feel like a sequel." In terms of engine, it's going to be using Unity again, and for those who've watched a trailer, that's actually how the stylism's going to work. Some of you may notice that it's going away from the standard 2D style engine and adding a sort of 3D layer to it. So while it will feel the same, it's going to have a 3D stylism layer to it. So for all those worrying about the 2D style positional play, that's going to remain. They've also promised that they're going to strengthen, tighten and tune up various mechanics so they don't feel as clunky, and in terms of roster they made this statement: when you play Street Fighter 2 you get to know the cast, and then when you get to play Street Fighter 3 Alpha you expect to see as many of your favourites, but they'd be remiss if they didn't adjust the roster with some new stuff, and I think philosophically that's kind of where our heads have always been at. It was an extremely difficult process to even rank the heroes internally. We're keeping anything new kind of close to our chest for now, but we should have a pretty robust roster, I think, for early access launch. I think people would be happy with the choices that we've made and probably disappointed that some of their favourites aren't in right away. And additionally, on top of this, they've already confirmed that we'll see some new faces for the early access launch. Excitingly, however, for the monsters though, it seems that they're going to be keeping some small nods to the first game and totally revamping and adding new creatures for people to play against, meaning there'll be fresh new enemies to bring heartache to your favourite runs. The last thing that I want to touch on is also the modding. Modding in Darkest Dungeon is absolutely huge. There's new classes, new runs, new abilities, and all sorts of fun things to make the game more entertaining and give it more replayability. In terms of the Darkest Dungeon's team standpoint though, they had this to say: "Our first focus is on just making a product that we're super proud of, so I would say in the same that we approached it in the first one, which is we like to see the mods, we're super happy, and we try to eventually arm them with some lots of tools, but that came after finishing the game, so our first focus is on making the game, and then hopefully enlarging the amount of tools that are available." So in a similar sort of fashion, it has the same run that the first one did, where originally there was a push just for the single player campaign, and then once people found their feet, they started producing mods with the help of tools that they provided. No doubt there'll be lots of clever modders, and I expect to see lots of mods from the first one being ported over to the sequel, even with the hill of 3D modelling to get over. Either way, I'm super excited to see what they're going to do. I'm really looking forward to playing this in October. Once again, this comes out on the Epic Store on the 26th of October. Add it to your wish list so you get a notification now, and we can all try it when it finally comes out. That's all I've got on Darkest Dungeon 2 for now. I'll be back with more news and reviews soon, but more importantly, stay healthy, stay safe, and have a great day.